Paul Ryan says they're formulating a plan. Joining us now, I'm delighted he's with us. Up at 42% in the new Reuters poll among most likely primary voters. Donald Trump, here on the Laura Ingrahm Show, candidate for the presidency. Had a huge event last night. I was getting tweets and texts about. Was it in Knoxville, Tennessee? Is that where it was?
It was in Knoxville. We had about 12,000, at least 12,000 people. It was such a great event. Hello, Laura.
Hey, how are you? I was thinking, I had bad breath or something. I was like, we're not hearing from Trump anymore. What's going on?
No. I've always been your fan. I'll always be around for you. You know that.
Thank you. So what do you make Paul Ryan? It seems like he felt the heat of all the people melting the phone lines on Capitol Hill. Americans are like, what are you all doing to us with these refugees?
What's going on is just crazy. Here we are. We're taking people. We have no idea where they come from. We have no idea. They say Syria. They say who? I mean, it's ISIS, maybe. It could be the great Trojan horse. You understand, they get into the country. You look at what Merkel has done to Germany. They're going to have riots in their streets, what's happening over there. And, she went from, in my opinion, she was doing a great job to being terrible at what she's doing. So I think she's going to destroy Germany with what she's doing. And you're going to have a revolt over there. You're going to have a revolution over there from what I see. But for us to do that in this country, and already, I don't know if you know, they're pouring in already. They're coming in.
New Orleans, they're down in New Orleans, in Florida. I mean,
I'm sure they're having a good time.
By the way, Mr. Trump, we just had Rick Scott on, and I said, why in the last 2 years has Florida had 43,000 refugees come and California's only had 16,000? And he said, everybody wants to come to Florida. Look at the taxes. We got all these jobs. I'm like, I'm glad all the jobs in Florida. We got 43,000 refugees. Be nice if we could make sure all the veterans and all the other people in the country who've been unemployed can get the jobs. But at least I guess the refugees are doing well there.
Well, they send them to the Republicans, not to the Democrats, because they know the problem. So in California, you have a Democrat as a governor. And in Florida, you have Rick Scott. So, they send him to the Republicans because why would we want to bother the Democrats? It's just insane. Taking these people is absolutely insanity. And I don't know if you know, they're talking about hundreds of thousands potentially. Hundreds of thousands. Our country is in
over
such
20
trouble.
years. Yeah, over 20 years. The Obama number would be that much.
No. I'm talking about now. They're talking about in terms of Syria. I've heard numbers as high as 250,000 people.
I think it's 15,000 per year, but then when you add it with the 70,000 we already take, and then over the course of several years as the crisis continues. Oh, no, I don't believe it'd stop there. Believe me.
You watch.
I don't believe
you watch
that at
how
all.
many it'll be. Until we get somebody in to make a change, a real change, not an Obama change, until we get... Ideally me, but until we get the right person in there, you watch what's going to happen. We're going to be flooded.
The establishment seems to be rallying now around Marco Rubio. Jeb Bush has just not been able to get it done. That could change. You never know. Jeb Bush has a lot of experience and still a lot of connections, but they're rallying around Rubio because they believe that Marco Rubio is the new face, the more welcoming face of the Republican Party. He's very, cheerful and well-spoken. Why would someone like a Rubio not be the face of a demographically changing country?
Well, I'm going to be nice. I'll be a little bit nastier as time goes by, I guess, but I'll be nice. But Rubio is not going to be the one. It's not going to happen. Doesn't have the gravitas. It's not going to be Rubio. And frankly, that would be the wrong one in this case. I think Bush probably is finished. I see his ads, though. I mean, one after another. You can't watch television without seeing an ad, all paid for by special interests and lobbyists and everything else. But I see the ads all over the place. So I don't think it's going to be Bush, certainly, and I don't think it's going to be Rubio either.
Today, the morning...
Rubio, by the way, Rubio is very, very weak on illegal immigration. A member of the Gang of Eight, which said basically, come on in, folks, just come on in. Extremely strong on amnesty. I don't think it can be him.
I think
go ahead.
Immigration remains, in my mind,
and he's
dominant.
very, 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 very weak and pathetically weak on immigration. And in my opinion, that ends his shot. But there are other reasons. He doesn't have the gravitas. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
When you look at the field as it is now, there's Cruz, there's Rubio, there's Bush, there's Carson, Fiorina. Are there any in the field that you've gotten to know even casually who you would consider for the vice presidency?
Well, I like a number of them, actually. I've gotten along with a number of them, and they're terrific people. But, it's just too early to say because the next question is about vice presidential. And it's a little bit early to say. I like to think of victory, and I've had a lot of victories, and I like to do victories first, and then I start thinking about other things. But I have had a good relationship with a number of them up on the platform.
Can't narrow it down. I mean, Ted Cruz.
Well, I like him. He's been very, very strong toward me. He's backed everything I've said. In fact, when I said we have to move, it's as tough as it may sound, we have a country, and we either have a country or we don't. And you have illegal immigrants in the country, and they got here illegally. A lot of other people are waiting online for years to come in. And I said we have to move them out. A lot of people initially hit me on that, and now everybody's sort of coming along, and Ted Cruz is now agreeing with me 100%, and so are others, many others. We either have a country or we don't. And one of the things we have to do is we have a lot of illegals in gangs in Los Angeles and all over the place, Chicago, and they are going to go out so fast, Laura, your head will spin. They will be out of here, and not in our prisons, because we don't want, our prisons are brimming right now with illegals and others.
Disaster.
And we're going to send them back to their country, and they're never coming back.
Someone who doesn't agree with your deportation plan is Paul Ryan. He was asked about it by Scott Pelley on 60 Minutes.
You don't advocate rounding up 11 million illegal immigrants and deporting them.
I do not.
That's not going to happen while you're Speaker of the House.
I can't imagine how it could happen, so no.
How do you work with Speaker Ryan as President Trump?
I think fine. First of all, it happened with Dwight Eisenhower. And as soon as he started doing it, everyone left, okay? And it happened with Harry Truman. But Eisenhower moved out about 1.5 million. People left. When they started seeing that the government meant business, they left. So it's going to be done in a very humane way. It's going to happen. And we're going to build a wall. We're going to actually have a wall. It's going to be a real wall, not a wall that people laugh at when they go by and they just walk over it, because that's what happens now. They actually build ramps over the wall so trucks can drive right over the top of the wall. Can you believe it? The walls are little and weak and pathetic.
Yeah, human slingshots.
I don't know if you saw the pictures. They literally drive trucks over Jeeps. They drive them over the wall, and they have drugs loaded in the back of the Jeep, and they have lots of fun selling it to the people of our country. It's not going to happen anymore, Laura.
Ted Cruz has a plan to halt certain types of legal immigration into the United States, so long as there's such high American unemployment, including among STEM workers, where there's an inordinately high percentage of those who are working outside the STEM field. Do you agree with Trump's approach on the legal immigration question, given how many millions of Americans are out of work?
Well, with Cruz's approach, my approach isn't so different. One of the reasons I feel so strongly about it is we're losing our jobs. We're losing our jobs. Big league on trade, worse than anything is on trade. When you look at what China's done to us and Japan and everyone else, big league. But also here, we're losing our jobs where people are coming in, illegals, and they're taking jobs from Americans. And I want to take care of our people. They have the DREAM Act, okay? I want the DREAM Act to be for the children of our country. And I want everybody to benefit, but I want the DREAM Act to be good for our children, not just children that don't have anything to do with our country. And that's going to be the way it's going to be, Laura.
And what would you do, Mr. Trump, with companies that force their employees, their American employees, to train foreign replacements? And if they don't train their foreign replacements, they don't get any severance benefits, which is what happened with Disney.
That happened with Disney, and it's a big story that it happened with Disney, and we're not going to allow things like that to happen. We're going to take care of our people. For the first time in 50 years, we're going to start taking care of our people. And that's the way it's going to be. And I think I don't know if you got the new Morning Consult poll that just came out.
38%, I think you're at. 17 is Carson. I think Carson goes down to 17. So
I went way up. He went way down after the debate. And, the other numbers are really low beyond that. I mean, they're in the single digits. And I think one of the reasons is my stance on immigration's been fair. It's been tough, but it's been fair. But it's what you have to do. The slogan is "Make America Great Again." We're not going to make America great if we don't have borders. If people can just walk right in front of our Border Patrol people, they're told to stand down, don't do anything, let them walk in, let them come in. And that's what's happening in our country. And therefore, you don't have a country. Because if you don't have a border, you don't have a country.
We're talking to Donald Trump here on the Laura Ingrahm Show. Valerie Jarrett, of course, top White House aide, best friend of the president's, was on an interview with Atlantic Live, And she said this, and this again was just a couple of days after these horrible attacks in Paris, which I want to get you on, and people questioning the president's foreign policy.
We've had a terrific year. And if you recall, not that long ago, the press was calling the president lame duck, I think it was. Doesn't feel much like lame duck to me.
We've had a terrific year, she said, Mr. Trump.
Well, executive orders and all of the things that are done, it's not supposed to be the way it's done. And they have not had a terrific year. And certainly if they thought it was at least a little bit good, I will say this. I am very disappointed at the Republicans. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. But there is a certain truth to the fact that you would have thought after we win the House, we win the Senate. And it seems like it's business as usual. We don't win anything with the Republicans. And I say, where are these people? You look at the budget that was passed so quickly and routinely. I mean, where are these people that have given us a majority? It's almost like there's no difference and nothing's happened. Now, if you watched President Obama yesterday at the news conference, which I'm sure you did because it's your business to do it, he was terrible. He was so divisive, so angry, and he was really more angry at reporters and Republicans, I think, than he was at what happened, where so many people were killed in Paris. And he talks about a setback. It's a setback, having all that death, and many more people will be dying because they're in a hospital, and I heard this morning they're in really bad shape, so many people. But to talk about that as a setback, and he's supposed to be a cheerleader for this country, and it just seems like he's defeated. I watch him and I say, he just acts like a defeated man. And it's very sad to watch, to be honest with you. And it's very sad that he's doing the kind of job that he's doing as president.
Well, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and hinting at it, Marco Rubio, on the need for American military might in the Middle East. And they're pushed on the number of ground troops, and there are all sorts of numbers are thrown out from 10,000 to 15,000. And I hear 50,000. Where is President Trump on ground troops, another American ground force in the Middle East?
Well, President Trump is for knocking the hell out of ISIS and doing it rapidly, and also getting other people to do it with us, because we don't do that. We don't use the resources like the Kurds. That's the one group that just seems to be real fighters. They're always fighting and they're winning. And we give them practically nothing by comparison to everybody else. And they go out and they win with third-class weaponry compared to what other people have. The other people, they run and they give their weapons to ISIS or anybody else that shoots a bullet up in the air. So the Kurds have to be brought into it much more. They have been terrific. Now, you look at other countries, all of a sudden France is engaged. And if you could ask, why is it that France got engaged now? Why didn't they do it? And us? They knew about these training centers that they blew up. They blew them up right after the attack. Why didn't they do it a year ago? Why didn't they do things earlier? I've been on your show many times talking about the oil. And everyone laughed. Oh, the oil, what a joke with the oil. That's their source of wealth. I said, attack the oil. That's been for 2 years I've been saying that. Well, they just attacked the oil, okay? So it's proven. But I also said attack the oil and keep it. My attitude is a little bit different. I want to attack the oil and keep it.
It's going in the ground there, Mr. Trump. They're just like blowing up those trucks. The oil's right in the ground. We don't get to use the oil.
No. But you keep it. You keep it. I mean, why should, in the old days, to the victor belonged the spoils, right? That was the expression in war. With us, it's like, all we do is pay. We don't have any spoils. We don't do anything. We are so incompetently run. But I watched him yesterday, Laura, in the news conference, and it was very sad, actually.
One person I imagine is probably not on your short list, at least right now, for vice president, might be John Kasich, given what he said with Martha McCallum yesterday on Fox.
Donald Trump said we should bomb the you-know-what out of him, and that he would surveil mosques.
We don't need just bombast now. We need solid plans. We need to coordinate intelligence. We put a coalition together.
Your reaction to Kasich there?
Well, he's been a guy that I've hit pretty hard during the debates, and obviously based on your polls that you're just quoting, he's not doing too well, to put it mildly. I've hit him hard because what he says is just wrong. Now, I've been saying take out the oil for a long time because that's their source of wealth. I'm also adding something, and I've added it the banks. I understand banks probably better than anybody. The banking systems, tremendous wealth goes to ISIS through the banking systems, through people that are our friends, supposedly, right? Mm-hmm. Very wealthy countries and individuals, our friends, through back channels of banking, they are giving tremendous amounts of wealth. We are going to stop that. If it's me, we are going to stop that, and we're going to stop it fast. And you're going to starve them for money. Once they don't have money, that's going to be the end of ISIS. But you got to bomb the hell out of them. Just
another half a minute here, Mr. Trump. How are you going to prepare for the next debate in mid-December? Tell me your MO on preparation. What do you do?
Well, look, I've been preparing for 30 years, if you think about it. I mean, it's hard to say you're going to prepare because there's so many different questions that can be asked. You can't really prepare. Romney prepared, and look what happened to him. He got killed. He went into a cabin for 1 week, and he came out, and he was unable to speak. You know, you got to be loose, and you got to be cool. But I've been preparing for a long time, and obviously I've done well. Most people say I won the debates, and with the polls that just came out over the last few days, they're all after the debate. I've gone way up, and most of the other folks have gone down.
I keep hearing that Carly Fiorina beats you in all these debates, and I'm like, well, wait a second. So we got to have to start redoing that analysis here, because I don't think that's not really bearing out with the numbers. Donald Trump, hey, thanks so much for joining us. We always love having you on.
Thanks, Laura. You take care of yourself.
All right.